Hey there, welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily show where we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate Solo, a Star Wars story, 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And I am Stuart Wellington, owner of Hinterlands Bar and Minnie's Bar, both located in Brooklyn, New York.
Welcome back to the show, Stuart. 1/3 of the Flophouse here with us today.
Oh, yeah, that's my other credit.
But, yeah.
I'm so glad to be back. When I get the star call, I always try and answer that star phone. You know what I mean?
And we're glad you did, because we're here to talk about minute 121 of Solo, a Star Wars story. Minute 121 starts with Han Solo running over to the fallen Bobias Teckett, and it ends a minute later with Kira flying overhead in her flying apartment building, the First Light.
Love it.
You're a fan of the flying apartment building?
I love design. I love weird spaceship designs and weird robot designs. Those are two things I love. I'm going to go on record. You can put that on my tombstone along with pepperoni and cheese. And I love the Star Wars ships that look like that's not, it shouldn't fly like that.
Yeah.
I wish. My only disappointment is we don't get to see it go in space, because I feel like that would have been even cooler seeing it.
Yeah,
like go into hyperspace. Yeah,
mm-hmm. I like it. Like, it's how I wish like Superman would fly around like standing.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. The whole Superman pose is just for us. So we accept it more. He can just fly he can fly upside down if he wants to.
Yeah, our human brains wouldn't be able to process it.
Right. Well, now that you said cool, weird ship designs and weird robot designs, I kind of want this to turn into a robot. That would be neat if Kira just started, took off with the ship and then turned it into a giant robot suit.
Yeah, like a Macross or a Gundam or something like that. Yeah. And if like in Macross there was some kind of a song component, all the better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll ever see a giant. I was thinking more like a giant kind of Iron Giant type vehicle, but I guess it's the same thing as all those all those
like
Japanese cartoons. Yeah.
Yeah, with some kind of this might be a first for the Star Wars franchise, but like if it had like a giant laser sword.
Laser sword. Let me write that down.
Well, I'll have to check the Wikipedia, see if there's any entries.
It would shoot Death Stars out of its hands.
Right, yeah.
What? Oh. So I thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to talk about Solo, partly because I saw this movie one time in the movie theater. I think I saw a little bit other than that. I think I saw when the DVD release where there's some extra features, I think I saw some of those. A friend of mine was like, "Oh, these extra features make the movie way better," but he said it with an English accent, so I bought it.
All right.
Yeah.
And but I haven't seen the whole thing again. I remember liking it in the theater. I remember there being some unnecessary prequel garbage where it's like, this is Han Solo because he's all by himself, and this is how Chewbacca learned how to make that sound and stuff like that. But
one of the cutscenes of Chewbacca at the vocalization workshop.
Yeah.
The other Wookiee's like, no, really, from your diaphragm, come on.
Yeah, exactly. At the start, he couldn't do that yowl. At the start, he had a very deep voice, and then he lost his voice box, and for a while, he could only speak using old radio edits, like Bumblebee from the Transformers, and then then he got hit again with a different coconut.
There you go. But that gave him amnesia, so that's why we had to go through all this stuff again.
But long story short, I remember liking it, and I liking some stuff. Doesn't Darth Maul show up later? What the heck's going on there? And I liked Woody Harrelson. I liked the train bit. The bit on the train I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I mean the lead isn't Harrison Ford. I mean, he's not going to have that kind of charisma.
He's not.
No, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. I got to change my notes.
I mean, maybe you think maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But I felt like Woody Harrelson was a fun addition to the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a. See, it was funny when you said there was some unnecessary prequel garbage. I thought you were talking about Darth Maul, but you were talking about just the unnecessary table setting. Once the
prequels in general, not specific to the Star Wars. Prequels.
Yeah, not to, no. I mean, when Darth Maul showed up, it was more of a like what, and that was because I haven't watched all the animated stuff. The reason like. If I watched all the animated stuff, I'd be like, of course, Darth Maul. I'm sick of that dude.
Again with the Darth Maul. Well, you know that he had spider legs at one point, right?
I do know that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I haven't watched it, but I do know. I mean,
you're aware.
I think I immediately after walking out of the theater, I'm like, my wife's like, Why are you staring at your phone and like mumbling under your breath? I'm like, I just got to figure out what the heck Darth Maul was doing.
Yeah, why was that?
Wait, he had spider legs? Why didn't he have spider legs here?
A strange choice for the kind of climactic final beat of the story, something that would send people, casual viewers, kind of scratching their heads in puzzlement.
And to think that like, if you were to tell me as an adult man, like if you were to go back to teenage Stuart and be like, when you're an adult man, you'll be considered a casual Star Wars fan, I would be shocked. Yeah. I would lose my mind. But here we are. This is what's happened to me.
Yeah, it's a strange boat to be in. But as speaking of strange boats, as Kira flies the building away, Chewie says something to Han there.
Mm-hmm. What are you talking about? Right when he crouches down next to Woody Harrelson?
Yeah, because they. Oh wait, they don't fly. They're flying it away at the end. The ship starts to take off at the end. So he just got shot. This is I'm readdressing my notes here. Woody Harrelson just got shot. Right, he slumps down. And they go over to him. Chewie says something that I don't. Again, trying to figure out what Chewbacca's saying in any instance is pretty funny because he's like, he supporting Han Solo here? Is he?
Now, this is based on context clues and not you just watch so much Star Wars that you think you can parse Wookiee language.
No. I do that with R2-D2 sometimes, but Wookiee I don't. Is too foreign to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're asking, what does he say after Han Solo guns him down and then he falls down?
And then Chewie is just like, what is he saying, though? He's like, good shot?
I'm guessing it's good shot, dick move, or how about we do a medium rare? Because, playing eating it.
Can I eat that?
Yeah. Is he saying, put him in a Bacta tank?
It's not, he could survive that.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he's asking. He's like, did you shoot him in an important part? Or is that like, I forgot how humans work. Do I have to carry that now too? Like,
yeah. Oh man.
Can I have his clothes?
So, can you refresh my memory? Why did Han Solo just shoot Woody Harrelson?
Essentially, in the third act, Woody Harrelson kind of double crossed him and was planning on stealing the loot, taking the gold and running away with it. Han Solo tracks him down. They have a sort of like gunfight at the OK Corral type thing, and then he unexpectedly shoots him. Woody Harrelson starts monologuing, and then Han Solo just shoots him before.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah.
He falls down.
Han shot first.
Oh, yep. I get it.
You see? Cheers.
And that like that meme or T-shirt shows up on the screen right when that happens, just to make sure everybody gets it right.
Right. Yeah. It's like TikTok. It's like the text is all blocky and hard.
Maybe that's what Chewie was saying. Oh, I guess you shot first this time, huh?
Yeah. I thought Chewie was saying, I'm going to take
that. Actually, yeah, that would track.
Yeah. But then he's not quite dead. He's on his way out.
Yeah.
He gets a little bit in there. He's like,
Yeah.
I would have shot you, kid, yada, yada. And then he slumps over and dies. And you know what? If we can all go like that with a flying building in the background, it's not so bad, you know?
Yeah, let this be let this serve as notice that I would like a building to fly away at my funeral. So everybody mark that down.
Okay.
That seems like it would be pricey.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
You just you get it at Costco these days. I mean,
right. You know, we could do it with a model, maybe, you know, as long as
it's like the what do they call that when the 5 planes fly together? The missing man formation. It would just be like 4 different buildings flying over and then one blank spot. All the Forbidden Planets, so all the Forbidden Planet locations.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh wow. Yeah, we'll get Phil Tippett to do a scale model of a building flying away for you.
Yeah, there you go. See, once it's up in the sky, it's hard to tell if it's big or not. They could be
That's
like
true. Just like a drone
6
for all,
scale buildings or something.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I hope everybody's writing that down. Make your plans.
Put that in the Wikipedia.
But he also gives him a compliment. He was like, "Oh, that's a good shot," or "Good move, good shot." I forgot how he says, but he's like, "That's another thing like that." You know, like complimenting your murderer as you die. It's a classy way to go out.
Sportsmanship.
You know? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, you know, like look at Anakin Skywalker yelling, "I hate you," as he's, you know, well, I guess he didn't die, but
yeah, I mean, I usually don't go to Anakin Skywalker for examples of classy behavior. It feels like it's very like a Western or like a samurai movie, like in like the Lone Wolf and Cub, where you know, Ogami Ito cuts that guy's throat and it makes a specific sound when the blood comes whistling out his neck, and he's like, "Oh, the wind in the reeds cut. I always wish to hear that sound. How ironic that I hear it coming from my own neck." And you're like, "That's so amazing. Ogami Ito rules."
Yeah, and then he his last words are a callback to earlier in the film when he says, "I really was going to learn how to play that valichord." That was a callback to something he was saying, wanting to play a musical instrument in his retirement. And
although it really that hits home with that, you know, everybody dies with unfulfilled dreams, and it's kind of sad. You know, it's all like, oh, that's all that stuff that I was going to do. Where's my to-do list?
He's the everyman.
Yeah.
So the lesson is, if you want to learn to play that valichord, go do it now while you got the chance.
Yeah. No time like the present, you know.
You never know when that street hoodlum that you kind of adopted into your crime gang will bristle at your double crossing him and shoot you on a desert planet somewhere or a beachfront planet.
And there were other members of his gang, right? There was like a forearm guy. I remember there was a guy with 4 arms, right? A little guy.
Yeah. Rio Durant, voiced by Jan Favreau.
Yep, I like that. I like that guy. That guy was great. And was there a robot? A droid?
She was part of like the second iteration. Again, we have to question Beckett's like just throughout the course of this movie, he's had essentially like, you know, 3 different crews.
Yeah.
But yeah, the droid
Lando, Han, and Chewie are the only 3 who managed to get out alive, being in a Beckett crew.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Yeah, Lando's companion, first mate on his ship was the droid.
Right. Yeah. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the robot version.
Exactly.
Fleabag. Fleabag herself.
Robot Fleabag. And do you think here's a question? So they're you know, Woody Harrelson's in the middle of dying. And they you know, they're all talking for a minute, they're having a moment. And then you know, Han here's the building start up, and he looks, you know, he kind of looks up, and do you think, like, at what point do you think he realized that it wasn't, oh good, Kira's coming to pick me up? Like, when does it dawn on him that it's not, this isn't going to go the way that they just planned it moments ago? Because Stuart, you missed last week. After they killed the boss, then they were like, all right, now we can buy our ship and go be free in the galaxy. And she was like, great, you go start that, and I'm gonna clean up a little bit, and then ditched him.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I think probably pretty quickly, right? He's not like, oh, maybe she's just taking it for a couple of spins around the lake and then she's going to come pick me up, or
yeah,
just
like as soon as
it move
as soon
parts
as
and spaces.
yeah. Maybe she forgot. Maybe she left her oven on. She has to go turn it off.
Right. I like the idea of him waiting there for a while and Beckett's still slowly dying, like he's not quite dead the whole time. And so everybody's just kind of standing around awkwardly, like looking around, looking at their watch, kind of looking at, I don't know if they have space phones, but they're just like, okay, she might come back. So I don't want to go anywhere else, but he's kind of just gurgling and every once in a while.
He's getting gross.
Yeah.
I mean, even after he dies, he'll still get gross, right? Like that's what happens to human bodies.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know. Although it's kind of a deserty planet, so he might like turn into a mummy or something. I don't know.
Oh, I see. That's the sequel.
the Mummy Harrelson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they changed the character's name to Mummy Harrelson because that's the actor that's playing him, and his monster type. Yeah, it's I mean, I feel like there's that's like such a classic like noir type story element where the femme fatale is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna double cross you now, and you're like, oh, you poor sucker, you put your heart in the wrong place again.
Mm-hmm.
So we wrap up with the thing taking off the First Light building, and I was surprised that our old friend, the Solo visual guide,
there you go,
has no, these things are famous for their cross sections and cutaway views. Almost no information about the layout of the First Light, which makes me wonder if this was a really late addition to the. Like they didn't know what the ship was going to look like, so it didn't make the book.
I mean, it looks cool and it's got a cool name. I guess maybe it took them a while to workshop those two things. And this was the ship of the gangster, right? The bad guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whose name was
Dryden Voss.
Dryden Voss. Okay, played by Paul Bettany.
There you go.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really hoping for a Richard Scarry cutaway view of the showing the different floor plan of it. But
you mean in the book and not in the movie?
Well, in the movie that'd be more like cool too.
That'd be like a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, exactly. Cut to like a little model of it, and
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at it. I think it's a good idea.
He's got his little those little ape army guys, going all over through it.
Yeah,
but Tote Ra and the ape army.
I can't decide if Wes Anderson, if I would want to see that, or whether it would be so like sausage factory that it would almost be like the worst of both worlds.
The worst,
you know what I mean?
Because it's
quite possible.
Factory.
Although he is pretty adept at telling stories about father issues.
That's true. Yeah,
which
and weirdos.
Star Wars is filled with. Yeah, weirdos.
I feel like we're past a point where like the floodgates have been opened, the barriers, the fences are all down. What? I'm not sure what my metaphor is, but like, now it's just time for let anything be Star Wars. So like, I would love to see a Wes Anderson Star Wars. I would love to see any new takes on Star Wars.
I mean, I could be wrong, but it feels like with things like Star Wars and Marvel to some extent, it feels like there was a period of time where they were really excited. They're like, now we can offer this to all these great directors and stuff, and they pretty quickly figured out the ones that they like and and then basically everything else they're like, nope, we want to look like this. Do not change it from our new studio style, which is a bummer,
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I when I say that, I mean I want somebody to just be given people to be given free reign with Star Wars, which I know probably won't happen, but that's
was that initial promise, right? Like when Star Wars was first, I remember the day I was at work and got that news, and I was like, oh man, like anyone could make a Star Wars movie. And I guess the closest thing to that is what? Last Jedi, which is great. But I I'll be surprised if they let somebody do that again.
Right.
I was hoping with the success of that anime show they did on Disney Plus, they did a show called Star Wars Visions, and it was basically they gave 6 different anime studios and said, "Hey, come up with a Star Wars story," and they wasn't in continuity. It couldn't have been in continuity, but I feel like that might be a better structure. Is just say, "Hey, give Wes Anderson 45 minutes. Doesn't have to be in continuity.
Sounds great.
Could just be like a less." Less of a commitment than a
almost
blockbuster film.
Like a what if kind of.
Like a what if.
Those, the books with the certain point of view books where it's just, well, that is rigidly within continuity, but it's also a little goofy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
so wait, like, what do you mean by a certain point? Wait, is that a line of books that
they've done?
Are they like Rashomon style Star Wars stories?
More like Guildenstern and the other one, where you're seeing the story from
Rhoda and Morgenstern.
Morgenstern, and Phyllis are. You see the Star Wars story from the point of view of, say, the Gonk droid or the bartender, or
I'm glad that
the whole.
Always goes to the Gonk droid first.
And they did for the 40th anniversary of Star Wars a couple years ago. They did it's 40 stories, and it kind of goes narratively through the plot of the movie, but from the point of view of background characters. So you'll see
like Ponda Baba and the Gonk droid.
Yeah.
Turns out they're all Jedi.
A bunch of Cantina stuff, and then you'll see some
sick
stuff. And, everyone is a Jedi.
Oh man, that would be awesome. That would.
They're fun.
Ponda Baba is such a good Jedi. He didn't need to use powers to get his arm chopped off.
Right. He's very.
He was trying to do the mind trick, but does it work if you don't understand the language of the person? I wonder.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Has that been addressed? That has to have been addressed at some point, right?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I do like Jedi that idea. Doesn't. Somebody being like, you don't need to say identification, then just like, I don't know what the hell he's saying, and just kills him.
Yep.
Well, hey, speaking of killing people, and we have Woody Harrelson dying here. I was gonna. I know, Stu, you're a fan and a participant in some horror movies. So what are, off the top of your head, what's one or two of your favorite deaths?
Wow. I mean, let's see. Right off the top of my dome, I recently liked in the first of the Fear Street movie trilogy on Netflix. I like when they stick a girl's head through a bread slicer.
Are those any good?
I thought they were pretty fun. They're like, kind of flashy, a little glossy. They're very heavy-handed with the needle drops. There's like needle drops within needle drops because the first one takes place in the 90s and you're like, it's nuts. But I think they're like light, breezy, and fun, and they are also gory, which is nice. Like they don't shy away from being horror movies. And then like I feel like you have a field day with something like Friday the 13th Part 6, which is kind of one of the silliest ones, but that's the one where like Jason picks up a guy and smashes his face into a tree and kills him, and it leaves a smiley face on the tree. That kind of stuff. Like, that's great. I'm sure, like, oh man. I mean, any of the deaths in Ricky-O where like Ricky punches dudes' faces off or like punches somebody's guts out. Thumbs up to that. Or when he pushes the prison warden who has to be the very best at kung fu, so he turns into a giant monster prison warden. Ricky just stuffs him into an industrial meat grinder and gets blood everywhere. I mean, I could just keep talking about deaths here. Dead Alive, where the zombie baby pushes its way through that lady's face. It's great.
Good. I knew you would have good answers for that.
Yes, Woody Harrelson thinks he was kind of tame in comparson.
Yeah, really.
I would have hoped something else would have.
No guts, no blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he didn't get pushed into an inverted lawnmower and just turned into chunky salsa.
No. Now we don't see, what happens afterwards. We kind of cut away at the end of the scene. He's
I imagine Jawas come and strip his body clean, leaving just some bones.
There's like the equivalent of Jawa. Like Jawas are to robots as what are to humans and near humans. You don't want to find out about those creatures.
No, that's a good one. That's a good question. Probably whatever
Jawas.
Yodas are. Yeah, Yodas are. Yodas and Grogu's.
Turns out after dark, they turn into ferocious meat eaters.
Just don't get them wet. Yeah.
Definitely don't get them wet. Oh man, speaking of that, I'm sure, have you guys addressed Joe Dante being mad about Baby Yoda? How Baby Yoda's basically just a gizmo?
It has come up. Do you have a hot take on it?
I'm just saying he ain't that far off, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't love Baby Yoda. I'd still take a bullet for that guy, but like, come on, it's Gizmo, dude. Gizmo rules.
Yeah. There's room on our that's Mount Rushmore for both of them.
Yeah.
And I have a new
who would be the other two on that Mount Rushmore?
I have a new petition out to add them both to Mount Rushmore. So please sign
I feel bad for the stone sculptor who has to handle those ears.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. They must have to put like steel supports in there and do cement out of it, rather than
or like a really like the cop out where they'd be like kind of plastered back a little bit like against the mountain. Yeah. So it's just like
And then you show up to see it and you see that garbage and you're like, I traveled all the way to Mount Rushmore to see this. Yeah. What the heck?
Amen.
All right. Well, I withdraw my petition.
Thank you.
Anything else for minute 121? You guys got anything else you want to say about this one today?
Real quick, when going into this movie, did you guys expect it's Bobias Teckett? Is that his name? Mm-hmm. Did you expect him to die, make it through the movie alive? He was a new character for the movie, right?
He was, but there's always that like, well, it's the Jack Nicholson effect where it's just like, well, if you get a recognizable star in there to play a character in a new franchise, he's probably just in it for one. You know what I mean? Jack Nicholson, like had to die as the Joker, even though the Joker's, been not dying for 100 years.
I assumed he was going to die because by the end of the movie, everything that is Han Solo had to be exactly in place. He had to get the Millennium Falcon. He had to be like, there couldn't be no
girlfriend.
He had to be able to go right from here to A New Hope with because if Woody Harrelson, they would have been like, well, where was he in A New Hope? Then whatever happened to him? So that's my imitation
People
of Star
will
Wars.
Be scouring A New Hope, looking for Woody Harrelson in the background. He's behind that dewback. He's disguised as a Ronto.
They'll have to shoot some footage of Woody Harrelson going like, "Hey, Han, I'll see you later," and then put that in A New Hope.
Oh, man,
when he's leaving.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. As much as like I am, as any right-thinking person, I'm a little bit against the constant modification of old stuff. Mm-hmm. It would be funny to just keep adding stuff as each new movie comes out. They're like, crap, we got to add more stuff to this thing.
It's like Back to the Future 2, where they have to keep doing the same scenes, but somehow figure out why these characters, they were there, but they weren't immediately visible. It would have been a mess.
I'll go on record. I've said it before. I'm not against the digital manipulation and addition of stuff as long as the original is still available.
Yeah, that's fair. Luckily, in this age of streaming, that is less possible.
just
down the memory hole.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, that was all I had.
All right, then I guess that will wrap up minute 121 of Solo: A Star Wars Story. Hey everyone, did you miss it this weekend? We did 2 more Patreon episodes, including an episode of Get a Life. Mm-hmm. Would that be right? So part of our ongoing pop culture chain that started with No Time to Die and will eventually link up with Andor, the series, coming soon to Disney Plus.
Much longer chain now.
Yes. Oh, did they push it back?
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's going to be a much longer chain then, but we hope you'll check us out. Go to StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon. Become a Patreon supporter. We have literally hundreds of back episodes you can listen to. You can hear our opinions on all the Disney movies when they were fresh and just came out, and see how we've soured in our old age since then.
You could go hear us talk about Solo after we saw it and be excited before it and after it.
So go do all that and then join us here tomorrow for another Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.